Tonight, we begin with an award that recognizes design thinking. The Design Mind Award recognizes individuals who have changed design thinking or practice through their writing, research, and scholarship. The recipient of the 2011 Design Mind Award is Stephen Heller. And Stephen is the author and the editor of more than 130 books on graphic design, satiric art, and popular culture. He was an art director for 33 years at the New York Times, where he continues to contribute as a columnist for the Book Review. As a dedicated educator, Steve has co-founded 6 graduate programs at the School of Visual Arts, not confounded, he's co-founded, including the MFA Designer as Author program, which he also co-chairs. So he's all about giving back. And here to present the Design Mind Award is the Assistant Managing Editor and Design Director of the New York Times, Tom Bodkin.
My friendship and my professional relationship with Steve began in 1980 when I joined him as an art director at the New York Times. We had much in common. We were both college dropouts and had both begun our careers working for publishers closely associated with pornography. For me, it was Ralph Ginsberg, creator of Eros, an erotic art and literary journal exquisitely designed by Herb Lubalin. For Steve, it was Al Goldstein, publisher of Screw, a publication with absolutely no redeeming social value. Steve, this may not be a Grammy or an Oscar, and you'll probably never realize your dream of being Eric Clapton or Martin Scorsese, but you have reached the pinnacle of our field. We've all benefited immensely by your work, sharing your keen insight into the meaning and significance of what we as designers do. This honor is the ultimate validation of your vast contribution. It's something to be truly proud of. Steve, you are a design rock star.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not as heavy as it looks. Before I came up here, Milton Glaser said I'm not tall enough for the stature of this award. And I'm actually not tall enough to read both sides of these monitors either. So when the wonderful May Ma called to tell me I was this year's Design Mind recipient, I immediately thought of my father, who passed on to me a terrible genetic disease, punning. My editors hate them. He always used to say to me regarding my poor academic standing, "It's mind over matter, son, and if you don't have a mind, it doesn't matter." Taking his words to heart, I decided to become a graphic designer. I won't bore you with the details, but graphic design is a lot about punning. And I thought I was pretty good at it until, and here's where there should be a sound of a harp and violins, I met my wife, Louise Feely. I so admired her exquisite typography and design for book covers and jackets that I realized I could never be anywhere near that good. And I'm not just saying it because she's here tonight. I could wax on about her elegance and precision and wit, but suffice to say I decided to stop any pretense of designing and turned, as Woody Allen once said, to teaching gym. In fact, I had been writing and making exhibits of satiric and political art, and then devoted myself to design history, criticism, education, and everything else I could cobble together related to design. Louise did the designing for the whole family. I sat around and exercised my design mind. Now, if you don't mind, I want to use the rest of my allotted time to thank some of the people that made this happen. I know I wouldn't be here if not for the New York Times. Louis Silverstein, former design director and pioneer of modern newspaper design, hired me from Screw. And I wasn't the only one at the New York Times from Screw. Tom Botkin put up with me for many decades and still does in my role as consultant, and he even left me an office with my name on it, so I feel like I have a home. And there are a slew of Times editors who invited me to write articles, reviews, and obituaries. I love writing them because I don't get any crap from the people I write about. And this forever changed my life. I also wouldn't be here if not for the School of Visual Arts, one of the institutions of higher learning that asked me when I was a student to leave. But they hired me back as faculty a few years later. Thank you, David Rhodes, who's over there, the president who gave me a second career after I left the Times a few years ago. Thank you, Marshall Arisman, who is also at the SVA ghetto table, who actually signed the expulsion slip, hired me to teach illustration history, and has been the co-author of 4 of my books. Thanks to Tony Rhodes, Executive Vice President of SVA, for his enthusiastic support of my work and great Yankee tickets. To Milton Glaser, Acting Chairman of SVA's board, who has been a moral beacon and a professional consigliere. And to Richard Wild, Chair of the Undergraduate Design and Advertising, for collaborating with me on 10 great symposia on the history of design, helping me become a better design historian. Over 15 years ago, the founder of SVA, Silas Rhodes, invited me to conceive an MFA Design program, which has been my second lifeline. I co-founded and co-chair the program devoted to design authorship and entrepreneurship with Lita Tellerico, with whom I've collaborated on and shared in many important projects. David Rhodes invited me to conceive of other educational programs on the master's level and had to buy a lot more buildings to do so. This enabled me to work with a slew of unique and wonderful talents, and many of them are here. So thank you for being amazing design minds in your own right. Alice Twemlow, Chair of Design Criticism, Liz Danzico, Chair of Interaction Design, Debbie Millman, Chair of Branding Design, and Alan Chachinoff, Chair of Products of Design. I truly love you all. In addition to the Times, I write for a lot of other magazines and realize that God is in the editors. I couldn't survive without them. Print magazine gave me my first outlet for design criticism. The editors there, including Marty Fox, Julie Lasky, Joyce Rudder-Kay, and Aaron Kennedy, have allowed me my mind, though within limits, and I bless them for it. I guess, however, I'm known mostly for the vast number of forests I've defoliated. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to make books. And lo and behold, I've done more than are ever necessary. But I couldn't do any of this without my loyal collaborators. Gail Anderson, Mirko Illich, Veronique Vienne, Lita Tellerico, Elaine Lustig-Cohen, and of course, Louise Feely, with whom I've done well over a dozen. And to my best of all friends and colleagues, Seymour Quast, whose wit and talent has enriched every project I've ever worked on together as we've been pushpin editions. I also want to thank my friends in the design world who have inspired and nourished and informed me. Paula Scher, Kevin O'Callaghan, Kathy Leff, and Stefan Sagmeister among them. I am so honored to be among my friends Ralph Kaplan, Michael Beirut, and Paola Antonelli, who have received this Design Mind Award. This is truly esteemed company. I have been extremely lucky. I've never had a job I did not love, except maybe the book, Not Tonight, Dear, I Have a Haddock, which Seymour and I worked on together, and probably did better than most of my other design books. Design has provided me with all the input to give my life's work meaning. I've been able to practice it, and when that came to an end, I was afforded an opportunity to teach others. I've been allowed to write in celebration and be critical of the field. I've been able to befriend historical figures who individually and as a whole are creating design history. I've been fortunate enough to be trusted to help write that history, even with a few puns. For this, I am grateful. And for this award, I can't even say how much it means to me. So much so that I want to dedicate it to those I love most. Louise Feely and Nicholas Heller, who's here, my son, a filmmaker who never stops making me proud. And thank all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And congratulations to Steve. I might add, I don't think I'll look at my New York Times the same now, knowing the screw on the resume.